I was gonna do this whole like musical intro going down like my Wayne playlist that I actually curate as I listen to it. I'm not one of you DJs who does the pre-playlist now, man. I fill out the vibes, and that's how I DJ in here. But what's happening, who's? But last night I came to this realization. In our reality, Hove has been ducking Wayne because he's afraid of what Wayne would do to him on a track if they work together properly. Yes, I know you got Mr. Carter. Uh, uh,
Is that
whatever.
the first collab? I didn't mean to cut into your monologue, but
No,
like,
no. That's the first collab, I think.
I can't think of another song before that they worked together on.
And then you got
Like
Hello
on Prowess.
Brooklyn, but Wayne is just talking, doing a hook.
This is all that, but this is all 07 to 10. Swagger Like Us.
Posse cut. That shit don't count.
Yeah, how does it not fucking count? They all got. It's just like Forever with Drake, Wayne, Kanye, and
yeah, but like,
what do you mean it doesn't?
work? When you got like, it's like the Khaled shit, right? Niggas got the beat.
Man, that's not comparable. I don't want to compare DJ Khaled to.
No.
You're saying them doing a song and it's just them. I guess you're saying, but I'm saying how does it not count when it's a fatal 4-way match for wrestling term, right? Like it's instead of a triple, or it could be a triple threat match.
Hey.
I'm just saying, how does it not count? That'd be like saying Chris Benoit winning the triple threat match at WrestleMania 20 doesn't count because Shawn Michaels was in it when it should have just been Chris Benoit and Triple H.
Chris Benoit didn't count because Chris Benoit doesn't exist in the WWE universe.
You're right. It doesn't count it counts. It's in the history, but they won't talk about it. But that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to abolish.
I say it's different because when you're talking about a song like that, like Swagger Like Us, that's T.I.'s song. Nobody but T.I. lets T.I. close out that song with that mid-ass verse that he did.
Something legendary. I forgot exactly how.
Yeah, bro, it was mid.
He had the worst verse.
He did have the worst verse, but he was also the worst. He was the least star-studded rapper on there.
No,
I wouldn't say he's the worst rapper because some people say Kanye is the worst.
No.
Because some people question Kanye when he stopped writing.
No, look here. When I listen to them put out music, Kanye's better than T.I. T.I. was the worst rapper.
I mean, I'm a Kanye fan. He's the best. Kanye's not the best rapper ever. I think Jay is, but like Kanye's the best artist ever. So I can see what you mean.
The first rapper that my daughter ever heard was Kanye. Okay, so
what song?
All of the Lights.
Okay.
I had to find something that was appropriate-ish, not too much cursing. You know, I was trying to.
I was gonna say more of. I was gonna say uplifting, but more of a pop. Like
yeah. You know,
that's a pop Kanye song. I mean, now all rappers pop, but like,
wife didn't agree with me showing her the video at like 4 months, but I'm like, yeah.
Well, you know, because they give the warning before the lights.
She liked the lights.
But it's colorful.
Huh?
It's colorful.
It is, but the whole thing I'm getting at is we get to see Wayne and Jay duke it out on God Did after not seeing them touch a track for almost 15 years. And like this Jay-Z now, Boss Hove, he's a cheat code because he's a billionaire with Beyonce. If he puts out a mid verse, it's still good because it's Jay, because he's gonna say some rich ass shit that everybody can't relate to. And whereas Wayne is still rapping like a rapper, Jay's not. Yeah.
Yeah, but why does he rap with autotune? Why does he need that for every verse that he does? Like, that is what I don't like about Wayne anymore. I don't think that lyrically he's not necessarily saying something or killing it or whatever. I think that that's like one of the biggest issues I take with Wayne today.
You auto-tune in this?
Loving what you do.
Okay, but you know, it's funny. We were recording a show the night that this dropped, and I think we got off and I listened to it and I was like, oh man, he's like killing it. But no, if you do, a majority of his verses have some sort of an auto-tune to it, bro. Like, it's not the same Wayne. And that's okay because things had to change.
I think that's a generational thing where Wayne was prime rapping in the auto-tune era, where Jay-Z was LeBron Lakers in that era.
Jay sounds the same on every track from start to finish.
I agree with you.
His voice, there's no difference. Even Kanye, to me, sounds different when he raps as opposed to like back. Drake sounds different too. Jay-Z's like the only person that his God did verse sounds just like Dead Presidents in a sense of his voice and cadence. Everything remains the same. You wouldn't know outside of the beat. You wouldn't know when it was recorded in a sense of his lyrics.
That's fair. So let me tell you, let me close this out and we can talk about Wemby. You know how I know Jay been ducking Wayne smoke?
Go ahead. What's the reason?
Do you really think Khaled sent out that God did verse to Ross, Jay, and Wayne and said, give me your verses, and then he compiled the song that way? Or did he send it out? Jay got to listen to Ross and Wayne and then do his verse.
Jay's in a position of power. They all, to a degree, should be. But if Khaled, let's say that Khaled came to them each individually and said, hey, I got a track. I'm going to have, this is my vision. Let's say Rick Ross, the first person came. We want you, Wayne, Jay. He said, done deal. Because he's obviously done some of his bigger hits have came with both of them individually. When he goes to Wayne got like the God, like, you know what I mean? Like all this extra stuff. Hey man, I got Ross, you, and Jay on a beat. What's up? And he was like, man, I'm gonna kill it. And then I think that when he got to Jay had to get the clearance of knowing, okay, they're for sure on it. What's the beat? What is the name of the song? Is there a hook? What's the hook? Who's doing the hook? Because think about it, they don't do the hook. It ain't like one of those songs. We know Khaled's not doing anything but saying we the best. God did. Like that's all he's doing on the record. I think there's a chance that Jay did hear Wayne's verse. I have to think that Khaled made it to where because Jay's verse is 3.5 minutes. It's a song. So it's kind of like there's no way he just heard his verse, his 45-second to a minute verse, and then was like, I'm going to give you 3.5 minutes of verse. I don't think that that's the way that worked.
I think Jay went into the studio and did what he wanted to do to make sure that he won. And I don't think he has it in him to go 16 for 16 on a song with Wayne today.
But do you think that is he different just because he has
he's a billionaire, so
business wise, because he is so different from them? Because they're businessmen too. Both of them are businessmen too. Like Wayne has his sports agency just like Jay-Z. It's not popular.
Well, yeah. Because Jay is a billionaire, he gets a pass for a lot of stuff that nobody else gets a pass for.
So, and the reason I bring this up, and I'm about to bring it up now, which is funny. I think that we have put this in our notes too. You might have not had it on the board, but do you remember when it got brought up that rap getting compared to the NBA and how we were like, man, it's like that's been being done, and somebody had brought it up. Yeah. So my point is this. This is an NBA player, a former NBA player that is known about a lot. Ulysses Junior Bridgman. This is a dude that like bought a bunch of like
chain restaurants.
Wendy's. Yeah. So this is my point. He's a businessman too out of the NBA. And he's still, based on what I just looked up, he's fourth on the list of net worth of NBA players all time. And his is at 600 million. But he's not a known, like, I don't know who the fuck Junior Bridgman is. A, because he didn't play during my era of watching, but B, he wasn't a significant type of all-star.
Who's number one?
Come on now. You know who one is.
And
one gotta be Jordan.
And what got him to number one? What got him to number one?
He's the most popular.
What got him to number one?
His greatness on the floor.
What else?
Nike.
Right.
And
People will
Gatorade.
use, hold on.
Let's throw Gatorade in.
People will use the Nike and the shoe sales as a ode to Jordan and as a knock on LeBron. It has nothing to do with basketball.
Yeah, because his shoes look so much better than his, and more players want to wear them.
It has nothing to do with the product on the court.
But niggas wear LeBrons.
I'm just saying niggas will say that MJ, better shoe.
Kobe's got a better shoe.
Well, yes, but Kobe's not in the good argument.
I don't, as weird as it sounds, Kobe's got like a cult-like following, but it's a huge cult-like following. But like, he's not. I think LeBron is more popular than Kobe.
Well, yes, Kobe doesn't belong in this conversation. RIP, no disrespect.
No, I'm just saying. Yeah. I'm saying Kobe has Nikes and his shoes are better too.
Absolutely,
and he's Jordan number 2, right?
But,
so like, it's like, so what people, do you mean? They were neck and neck at the same exact time.
Most people will not.
What makes the difference? Kobe's got more rings.
Well, because Kobe doesn't get to be in the GOAT conversation, honestly. Like,
why not?
I don't know. I don't create the conversation. We're not having that conversation right now. But the point, no. We're going back to rap. Right. The way that people use Jay-Z's billions, they use MJ's shoe sales as to make him the GOAT rapper. And it goes, no, nigga. Does the music sound good? Do people consume it?
But I'm not trying to be the but guy, but like,
okay, Mr. Ass Man.
Kanye, obviously now, I guess based on what Forbes says, isn't, but Kanye was worth more than Jay, and that's his student, right? That's Daniel's son taking over Mr. Miyagi. And a lot of people, most people, because he's a producer and he has his hand on more stuff, plus his business stuff, like most people will put Kanye ahead of musically. I do. I mean, I do. I don't think that Kanye's a better rapper, but if we're putting, like we just talked about, Swagger Like Us, even the song, he's a better rapper than T.I. Like Kanye, too, could have, the same argument I'm trying to make about Jordan, LeBron, Kobe is the same thing I can say about Kanye, Jay, Wayne. I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's the same argument.
You're right. So Kanye is the understudy that becomes really good, who has an argument for being better, but most people won't allow it.
And let me tell you, and it's the same thing with Wayne in a weird way. Most people think that Drake is a better artist. He is a better artist than Lil Wayne. He's a better artist.
He makes better songs than Wayne.
Some might think he's a better rapper.
Well, they're stupid.
Some. I'm not one. I think it's fucking close. I think it's closer between him, Wayne, and Drake than it is between Kanye and Jay. How about that? I think it's closer. It is closer. Some people used to think that.
Yes, but
some people, I can't put names.
No.
I think that Drake wrote for Lil Wayne during that era. Like people thought that Drake was writing for him.
Well, people think a lot of shit that's wrong. Drake and Wayne are definitely closer than Jay and Ye.
From a lyrical standpoint,
but if you go like composite score, Wayne and Drake win. They have a higher score. Lyrically, they have a higher score than
lyrically, and that might be the only place that they beat them. Lyrically, yes.
Yeah.
Like, and it's still close. It's still close. It's still close. Like, but composite score, Kanye and Jay win. And it's not because they're billionaires, though. I just don't think it's because they've had success outside of rap. They've had way more success. Like, I don't think that that's the reason. I think that the art of what it is that you put out and how you presented it during its time and how does it age matters way more than, damn, this was such a crazy thing that happened at this time.
But
like,
that
808s of Heartbreak didn't get that praise when it came out for Kanye. And I think it's the same thing because we are talking rap. But even if we look at basketball, it sucks that Kobe had to die. But like, I think that Kobe's greatness was already looked at in a very fond way. But I think that more people do put him over the edge because he isn't here and because of what happened and how it happened to him. I do think that adds to his legacy because it's like, we don't even get to hear him. You get to hear all these talking heads on ESPN, but you don't get to hear Kobe talk about it. Like, we don't know what Kobe challenged Giannis on Twitter, right? he got the MVP and he challenged him. He said, but what about the ring? Or he challenged him. Either way, Giannis accepted the challenge and Giannis got it done. I guess is what I'm saying. And there's a mystique about Kobe too. He's got an Oscar. There's like a lot of shit that gets added in to why he's a part of that GOAT conversation, in my opinion. Go ahead.
Well, you know, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one.
You know, and
Hey.
some people give a shit.
You know, there's a lot of opinions on Wemby. I don't have one yet.
Me neither, because he's not playing competition. He's not playing what his competition is supposed. He's not.
Hold on, before you go.
Hey, check this out. He's not playing in the NBA yet. In reality, right. That's not the NBA.
So Victor Wembly Yama made a summer league debut over the weekend. He had one game where he didn't play great. He had another game where he looked really good. And people who get paid to talk about sports had a lot to say about a lot of nothing, if you ask me. So Parlay Pete, give your take on what Wemby is, because I think we can keep this segment shorter than
for sure. I'll tell you what I did take away, even from his first game. I didn't watch the second game, so I didn't see it. I just saw the stats. But what I can say, I think it is true that he will be much more of an elite defender to start his career off. And I think that that's a lot of what people thought Anthony Davis was too when he got started. More people were like, yeah, because people got to remember, Anthony Davis was not this elite offensive player at Kentucky. Like, he was not a 20. Nobody was like, oh, yeah, he's going to be a 25 and 12 guy. Like, that's his, like, career thing. I think that he – Hold
on. Nobody would have thought Anthony Davis would have had a 27 and 12 in the Western Conference Finals, and people say, AD's got to step up next year.
Was that his average this past
yes.
WCF? Okay.
Yes.
Well, probably because game one or game two. I think they still it's game two that they won.
No, they didn't win any of them. Game two was the game that
you're right. They got swept. No, game one was the one he started really slow. He still ended up with like 40 points in that game. But point being, what I'm saying is that Anthony Davis was not this offensive powerhouse in college. And a lot of people thought, well, defensively, he's going to translate immediately, which he is. He's one of the better interior defenders in the league, when healthy, of course. He's a guy that's been in the running for Defensive Player of the Year and has been an all defensive player before. So I think that Wemby, when he gets started, is going to be that, because that was the one thing I noticed that, yeah, it ain't James Harden going to the hole. It's some nigga named Smith or something going to the hole. But, like, at the same time, I can see his defensive, like, shit. He had, like, 5 blocks that first game. That's a lot of blocks, man. Like, people forget that Brook Lopez led the league in blocks this year, and it was, like, 2.9. So, 3 blocks a game. I think that, and granted, he's 7'4". It's like he kind of should be swatting a lot of stuff. But the fact that he can already, I think, do that is going to be great. Remember, it's a perimeter game, so he's not getting bodied by Shaq down low. That's not what's happening down low. And he's long enough to where when long shots are being taken, it can get tipped, and he can tip it to his other long hand because he's got like an 8-foot wingspan. So I think that defensively, he's going to kind of settle in very early in the league. I think that he already got dunked on. We got to see that. I think that that's going to happen. But offensively, his game will get better because of spacing. We're going to find out how good of a shooter he really is. I think it's really what this boils down to. That's going to decide how great of a player he's going to be.
Yeah, so my Wemby takeaways are he's going to be a great off-ball rim protector day one. I think Jokic, I think Joel Embiid, if he has to guard one of them like one-on-one, they eat his lunch. But as an off-ball help side defender, he's going to be amazing.
Yeah, but basically, somebody gets blown past, and Fred VanVleet, Rockets are playing Spurs. He goes up and throws some shit up. It's gonna be in the 5th row.
I think he's gonna be able to block the shot and defend the alley-oop at the same time.
Yes.
I think that his feel for the game is amazing. He's a really good high post passer.
That's another thing I think that might be underrated about him is that, but I mean, I'm not trying to say, oh, he's a Euro player, but like he's following in the mold and footsteps of those Euro players. Dirk's about the only one that I can't say, oh, he was a great passer. Most of the Euro players that were bigger than are great passers.
I don't think Luke is a great passer.
But he's not a bigger. He is big. Okay.
He's not the bigs. Okay, the bigs. Yeah. So like he has
all the bigs pass well. All of them. They all did.
I saw that. He showed his flashes in offense. His little like fake ass KD ISO game. Not it. It's not happening, bro. You're too high, and you're too weak.
But don't you think he could have a healthy median between him and Giannis? Giannis and KD have that healthy median because Giannis doesn't really have that either. But like Giannis is bigger now too than when he came into the league. So like it makes it different for Giannis today. But can he not? KD didn't really get that much bigger. He's more ripped, but like he's not bigger. He's cut, but like he's not bigger. So
maybe he has 5.
He can get a healthy median in between to where he's way more respectable on the three because his second game.
Hold on. I'm not talking about the shot yet. I'm only talking about the ISO game. I don't think that's going to work for him. I think he's just too tall.
You don't think it could be a healthy in between?
No.
He clearly tried it. Like in the first game, I saw going between the legs. Like he was trying to cross people up, and it's like you're not going to cross anyone up.
No, and I don't think
now you're not.
I don't think that part of his game develops because I think his base is too high to develop the tight handle that you need to get that done. It's just too much space from hand to hand.
But I think that it can. So. All right, let's look at.
Let me finish breaking this goddamn game down.
Oh, go.
So I think that the ISO game is never going to happen. It will look good on air. I just don't think it will look good against an actual defender because he's fucking 7'5". Him playing out of the post is going to work because he's going to get trash points and his arms, the go-go gadget arms. If you catch the ball at 6 feet, you'll be able to like just turn around and baby hook, and your baby hook's going to be a sky hook. His shot looks good, but it doesn't go in yet. And if you look at his numbers, his 3-point percentage was close to Scoot. So if you say Scoot can't shoot, Wemby can't shoot either.
He is a good free throw shooter.
Yes. And lastly, I'm not saying he has to gain weight, but he has to get stronger because he got bullied in the summer league.
I think he will naturally get the muscle.
His team is saying now we can discuss it, right?
Because he's 18 or 19.
19, I think.
So he's going to naturally gain muscle.
Yes.
In my opinion, because he won't fill out for another 6 years completely.
His agent is saying that they're not in no rush to put weight on him and commit to lifting weights. They're going to just continue working on the skill game. If it works, it works, you know.
Well, he's certainly in the right place for it. I think,
yes.
And that's like, I think that was the big celebration on his end and everybody's end. And Pop renewing for 5 more years, I think solidifies that he wants to go out a winner as opposed to kind of what's been going on there. And that is the plan. Like the plan is that he will finish that contract, but within that contract, we're going to get a Wemby from, because I'm assuming he had at least 1 year left. So 6 years at least of Pop with him. That is, you know, from our generation. I mean, obviously Phil, of course, but Phil just had so much goddamn talent every time. It doesn't take away from Phil as a coach because clearly when he left the Lakers and then comes back, they win. So it's like clearly he's like Phil is like Spo, but better. Or not better, but like
I think Spo does more with
steroids, like a steroided Spo, because that is what he is. He knows how to manage talent.
I think Phil is better than Spo, but I think Spo is better with less than Phil.
Correct. All right, I'm with you. I agree.
So as we close out this topic, My stance on Wemby is I don't know. And like I said a couple weeks ago, it's okay to be late to the Wemby party. You don't have to be at the club while they're setting up, while they're sound checking. Like you can get there when it's already jumping. You know what I mean? You can get there when DJ2 starts playing because we don't know. And if you think you know something based on what you saw in Summer League, you're lying and you just want it. You just want to take so you can go back to it and be right.
Exactly.
Real quick, not a conversation piece. I just want to throw it out there. I called Jabari Smith a bust, and then he went on to score like 71 points in his first 2 games. And he just looked head and shoulders better than the Summer League talent, which is what he was supposed to do as a second-year player. And his on-ball game looked the best that I've ever seen it. Again, competition is not NBA competition, but he's there to gain confidence in the parts of his game that he doesn't get to do in the regular season.
Right.
And I think he looked great doing that along with Keegan Murray. You know, somebody in the group asked, like, why is Keegan Murray playing Summer League? And
it was me.
Oh, well, it's to work on the parts of his game in game format that he can't work on with the team.
And look, I asked it because he was starting, but the same thing I could say happened for Tyrese Maxey because I remember I actually lost a parlay because of it. Degenerate, I know. I'm betting on Summer League. But literally, the Hawks were playing them in his second year or what he was coming up on his sophomore season, and Tyrese Maxey played. And I was like, the fuck is he playing for? Because I was like, he didn't, and he's not, Keegan Murray, I felt like started a majority of the year for the Kings. And they were a playoff team. I guess the Sixers were too, but like, I don't know. Maxey, it was just a little bit more difficult to see. But with Keegan, it was just a little bit more shocking because it wasn't even the Vegas Summer League. It was like the intro preseason. It was pre-Summer League preseason. Like, it was crazy. I'm just like, man, this dude had a 25-point game, like, not in the playoffs, because he actually did not look good in the playoffs. But, like, he did have, like, one of those games, like, late, like, games that they needed to win to shore up a seed.
Yeah.
And so I was just surprised to see it. And plus, he's a guy, too. He's not skinny. Like, he's not somebody that needed to develop a certain type of body. He kind of has that mellow body a little. Like, and his game is a little mellowish, too, if we want to be honest. He's not mellow, but, like, that's kind of like his game a little. Can I hear the church say amen? I mean, I don't, like, am I right? Like,
I've not watched enough Keegan Murray to tell you the truth.
He's really good at Iowa.
You know I don't watch that sport.
It's good to watch when there's good players and really good teams.
But they rarely play against each other.
They hope to in the tournament. That's the point.
Rule changes. What are your thoughts on a second challenge if you get your first one right?
I mean, it's just like it's not like the NFL, but it is. If you get think about it, if you get 2 challenges right in the NFL, you get a third. So I'm not mad at that. I think that's a great rule. Why not? Especially because I would think that there are more mistakes made in the NBA than there are the NFL, because the NFL does use instant replay on all scores. So now, granted, NBA, there's too much scoring to where if somebody gets fouled, you can't really replay it, or if you call a foul on an offensive foul or something, like, it's just too much to really stop the game to do it. So I like that rule. Yeah.
Okay. I like it because I think coaches hold their challenges to the end of the game when there are obvious calls that get missed in the beginning of the game. So I think that second challenge will allow coaches to challenge more important stuff early in the game. We got the NBA Cup, the in-season tournament, CONCACAF, Champions League. Some shit that Charles Barkley may or may not shit on, depending on whether or not he gets a phone call about it at the beginning of the year. Some shit that Shaq's gonna say that doesn't get you G14 classification. It's a way to try to invigorate players to play in games that the teams consider that don't matter.
It only matters more to the bench players or the guys that are on rookie deals.
Yeah, because what is $500,000 to LeBron? That's more taxes he got to pay.
Harden, anyone. It's nothing. So it's for them. I don't know what the payout is because they only said the players. I don't know what the coaches get. Like, I don't know. Like, so I think that there is incentive, of course, more for. And if LeBron cares about his teammates the way that everybody thinks, and I'm not just singling him out, like all of them, if they care about their teammates that aren't really making money, then it will matter, of course. A guy on a rookie deal that's making $1 million, $1.5 million, that $500K is huge for them. Even the first round picks that might be making 4, 5, 6, whatever that number is for the first pick, it will matter. That's another $500K. That is a big deal. They're already all rich, but like it is a big deal.
No, $500K matters to people on lower end contracts, but if I'm making $40 million a year or $50 million a year, I don't give a fuck about $500,000 for games that don't really matter about anything. It's not, because it's brand new, it's not going to be respected by the NBA, the old heads in the NBA. Like that championship, if they give you like a mini ring or some shit like that, you can't wear that to All-Star Weekend and think it's going to get some play. But here's what I like about what Adam Silver's doing. Adam Silver is taking the international soccer model and bringing it to basketball, because they're similar sports in the sense that they're driven by superstars, but one is actually popular and one isn't as popular as we'd like for it to be, right? Like the NBA, the Pro Bowl gets better ratings than
But why wouldn't you make it even more interesting than that and do it similar to soccer and have it to where there are CONCACAF leagues where the MLS teams will play the teams in the Premier League?
Well, what the fuck?
Why? I get it. It's the first year, but why not bring over the teams that are playing? Why not get Real Madrid to come over and we set up, if we're going to really do it, set it. And I know that logistically that is a lot more to ask for teams from Europe to come over here, but we can get the Australian League. We can get the China League that's got former NBA players in it. Why not set it up that way? And I get it. You want it to parallel with the regular season, but like there are so many questions. Why not set it up that way?
Because they suck. Does nobody want to watch?
But there's a bad team in.
No.
Hey, hold on. We've seen preseason games where the Phoenix Suns got blown out by somebody, and Devin Booker and them did play, and they played like 26 minutes.
And they didn't
play. They play. Man, well, fuck.
And you know what? You know how there are certain Falcons games where our day starts at about 12 o'clock, and we barely even pregame because the night went late and niggas didn't want to wake up in the morning. Like the mornings where Justice wakes us up because he just comes in. It's just like, y'all niggas getting up. Those mornings, that's what happened to Phoenix that night.
It doesn't matter, Lee. This is what I'm saying.
I don't want to watch niggas
who got blown out. It wasn't close. They lost by like 20 points.
Because they didn't give a damn. And they were hungover.
Hey, and it wasn't a 15-2 run in the last 6 minutes of the fourth quarter. They were down the entire game.
I'm not trying to watch the people who can't get into the NBA play against the best people in the NBA. Sorry, like they had Wembly Yama play the G League Ignite. They did not have him play the OKC Thunder.
Look, man, this is all I'm saying. Why not spice it up? I don't like the idea of mixing up basically the East and Western Conference. And travel-wise, I get it. but it's kind of one of those things where, well, gosh, we have not gotten Group A being Hawks, Lakers, Bulls, Memphis, and OKC, or I don't know. Why couldn't we mix it up that way instead? Why is it just the Eastern Conference on one side, West on the other? Like, there's so much more left that could have been done.
I don't think they want to change the schedule too much and TV games and all that other bullshit, because it's not like the group stages are just regular games that are already on the schedule. You know what I'm starting to think about Adam Silver? He is a disenfranchised commissioner. I think he has ideas, some of them good. He has a brain trust that he relies on, and he doesn't take into consideration like the other stuff, you know, because the idea of this is getting the players to play. Okay, you can't get postseason awards without playing 65 games. I just don't think shit like this would be happening. There wouldn't be a need for this under David Stern. And I think that Silver needs to find a way, whether it's colluding with the owners in the next CBA, which would be a while from now, to get towards less guaranteed contracts, less protection, start to weaken these agents who really don't. Dog, the agents don't have as much power as people try to make it out to be. I think the GMs act afraid of the agents because they're trying to protect their jobs. But let's be real. You're my agent. This team pissed you off with another client, but they offer me the biggest contract and I got a good tax situation. And you say, hey, man, I don't know if we want to go there. You know, they don't treat their players as I'm like, how much they offer? What's going to be my role? You know, I don't even got to ask you what's my role. I'm going to talk to the coach. So what's my role? All right. Yeah. Yeah, man, the team you're trying to get me to, they're offering $5 million less over 4 years. That's $20 million. How you going to make up that $20 million? On to Utah, man. I can fly him in. That's what Zion did in New Orleans. No biggie.
Oh, Zion?
Did you see his piece on Gilbert Arenas' podcast, like the short clip of him just talking with him? It was pretty good. It was like 11 minutes of him actually coming, like at Summer League, sitting on the set with him. And he pretty much just said, dog, I'm young, I'm rich, I want to hoop.
So he gave us the answer we wanted to hear.
Yeah, he was like, bro, I just wasn't disciplined like I'm supposed to be. You know, like I was eating.
I got caught up with a groupie.
He was talking about him not being on the court. He was not talking about his personal life, but
well, I think both go hand in hand.
I'm about to say the answers are the same. I was young and rich and having fun. So we don't care about this NBA Cup, do we?
No, in reality, I think that unless they sizzle it by adding stuff like that, that it doesn't really, what is it? I mean, because it's intriguing, even though we know from a bet, I tell you what, from a betting standpoint, who's the worst team in the NBA? If the Detroit Pistons of last year, let's say Cade's hurt or something, if they play against the best team from China or Australia or, you know, from Euro Cup or they are not Euro Cup, but the Euro League or like the
I'm playing 2K that day. Nobody
will be right where David came from. If you're playing the best team, it is interesting to see it. Plus, it'll shine light on these guys that have not been in the league that are good Euro players or overseas players that can play, that do get into the league when they're 30, like the guy that signed with the Kings that was the EuroLeague MVP. It shines light on them so that we can see it. Or even a Wemby, somebody that's 17 that is playing on this team that is supposed to be the number one pick in a year or two. We get to see them early against the competition. I just think that it makes way more sense for them to incorporate that if we're going to make it a cup style thing anyways.
I just don't think there are enough people who are interested in that outside of gamblers and diehard basketball fans.
Well, then fuck. But who's in it into it now? Is what I'm saying. Like nobody.
I don't know. Here's one thing I heard today. maybe they're trying to create this cup as a separate package to then sell off to TV networks. Last thing in basketball, do you care about LeBron saying he's back?
No, because we already knew he was coming back. So,
all right, man,